What's up, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Don't Keep Up With the Joneses. 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 What's up, beautiful people, to another episode of the Jones Family Channel. It's me, Rickey Jones Jr., and as you can see, I am not by myself. I am also excited for us to get to know my sister Wahida and all that she is, all that she's done, and all that she's brought. And I do mean brought to South Africa, in which we're going to talk about it. Now, before she says anything, I just want y'all to know the impact and the work that she has done reached all the way to the States, and a family from the States, which we'll talk about as well, came here and to see the things that she's done, to be a part of the things that she is doing, and to support the ongoing effort and the things to come. And I'm excited because as you all get to hear her and the things that she's brought here, you'll get to understand why they then reached out to me to say, hey, you should talk to her. You all should do a conversation and share the things that are being done. So without further ado, I'm excited to hear from you, my sister Wahida.
You got it.
I did. Okay.
You did.
Just so y'all know, I've been struggling, y'all. I've been struggling with the thought of like how to say her name, which I'm going to put it up at the bottom and you'll be able to see it, in which, you know what I'm saying, it was an exercise. It was an English exercise, I'm going to say. But nonetheless, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Like, again, I was told about you and said, hey, you all should do a conversation, and I'm excited because I want to start by just getting to know you, right? And I believe in getting to know you, it'll speak to the things that you're doing here. And so, where are you from? And tell me a little bit about just what do you believe led you to moving and living here in Johannesburg?
Okay. So I am from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
That's how you pronounce it.
Hello.
If you are from there.
If you know, you know.
You know, you know. And I'm from a family of 3 daughters, raised by my mother, Teresa. Studied education, met this South African gentleman named Tulani when I was in university. He was the sole South African at our school. We used to flirt back and forth, but we were both in relationships until we weren't. And so we decided to date. And one of the things that Tulani told me was that I want to move back to South Africa.
Wow.
So early in our relationship, that was something that he just put forward. And so at first there was a little bit of tension around that because I saw myself as a traveler. Visiting various countries, even hanging out, for a couple of months. Yeah. I didn't really see myself moving to another country. But I started to kind of wrap my mind around it, and I agreed that at some point I'll be ready to move to South Africa. When we had our son in 2009, it felt like a good time. I think I felt very much like my mother's child, and that my mother was my family, my sisters were my family, which they are. Yes. But I think once I had a child, it felt a bit different. It felt like this is my nuclear family. Yes. And I need to start making decisions about what I want based on what I feel like my family needs. So marriage is what brought me to South Africa, in short.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So you say you met him at university.
Yeah, met him at university.
So that's your undergrad, correct?
Yeah, we went to Rickey College. Yeah.
Boom, right. Because, since being here, and I'm sure you can attest to it, like, university is within like the 12 years of schooling here, and college.
College, yeah. They refer to college as high school.
It's high school, yes. Right. And so every time I'm here.
We went to university together.
Boom. Boom. I love that. Yeah. And at that point in meeting him, he was saying South Africa. He wants to go back. Now,
he was the biggest advocate for his country.
I love that. And being the only one there, that says a lot,
He waved the flag. He was waving the flag.
Waving the flag, probably, which now we know why.
Yeah.
But even in hearing him say he wanted to move back, what were your thoughts about South Africa at that time?
To be honest, I didn't know a ton about South Africa.
Yes.
I was always more interested in West Africa just because of the history of my ancestors being from that part of the continent. So I was always more interested in Ghana. In fact, I remember I was telling him when we were just friends that I wanted to visit Ghana, and he tried to discourage me. He was like, you need to go to South Africa.
Okay,
like South Africa, we love Ghana,
Yes.
but South Africa's where it's at.
Yes.
But I decided just for my own personal journey, I wanted to go to Ghana.
Yeah.
But I didn't know a ton about South Africa. I learned a lot about South Africa through him, through a lot of the books that he exposed me to. So he was the one that gave me my South African education.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. So you did like an ancestry DNA, or you?
I didn't do an ancestry DNA, but just thinking about just the history.
Yes.
Just knowing that that's where many Black Americans could trace their roots to. I do want to do one, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of felt like I wanted to go to Ghana to see the Elmina slave castles, just to learn a little bit more about that journey that our ancestors took.
Right. No, I love that. So before coming here, would he cook like South African dishes and all?
Yes, he
Okay.
did.
So what's your favorite South African dish thus far?
I want to go with chakalaka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Tulani makes a good chakalaka. He's introduced it to all my family. My sister thinks and dreams about chakalaka.
To this day?
Yeah. So when we have Thanksgiving in the U.S., chakalaka is on the menu.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you all go back for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, well, when we do, and even when I make it here, when we have Thanksgiving here, we have chakalaka.
So you continue Thanksgiving here?
Oh, yeah.
Still to this day?
Oh, yeah.
And you've been here for how long?
I've been here for 13 years.
13 years. Wow.
So we host Thanksgiving. We'll have to invite you.
Yes.
We host Thanksgiving every year.
Yeah, and
it's a nice fusion.
That you all do as far as the food.
Yes.
I love that. And I'm saying all of this because this year was the first year that we spent Thanksgiving here.
Okay.
And my wife did her best.
Okay.
To make it happen.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to her. She made it all happen in one day.
Oh,
and
nice.
I mean, just trying to find different cheeses and things for the macaroni and cheese, collard greens.
Did she find collard greens?
She did not.
Okay, I was going to say.
It wasn't on the table.
Yeah, okay.
But at the end of the day, now I know somebody else is here holding on to
Yes, we've managed to put it together a really good menu. Yeah, we found the ingredients. We found what we need to make things. Not collard greens.
I was about to say.
I heard there's something similar though.
Correct.
Yes, somebody told me there's something similar. I can't remember the name of it, but there's something that's similar.
It was many directions she was pointed in, but it was never to the collard green.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's okay. We had a green.
Okay.
It was like a mixed green. But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? We got other family here that we can make it happen, right? Yeah. And so even to the point of you all coming together, what ethnic group is he a part of?
My husband is Zulu.
He's Zulu.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that like? Merging your, traditions, your culture, your lifestyle, being from the South, Louisville, Kentucky. Like, I'm just even thinking of like life like there. But then to be connected with a Zulu, like what was that like?
People ask me that a lot, and of course my husband has his own culture. I have my own culture. We respect each other's culture.
Nice.
But it was never really a challenge. Yeah, I think I've always been like very open-minded, and my husband is as well, and I've always been very curious.
Okay.
So I was always interested in learning more about the continent and being exposed to the continent, understanding the culture, understanding the food, the language. So it was just kind of a match waiting to happen. So it was just something I was more excited about. So it wasn't an obstacle. I think we were also living in the U.S. as well.
Yes.
So it was kind of like he was kind of on my turf.
Right.
A bit.
At first.
Yeah. I think moving to South Africa, there was more of a shift. But I think the shift actually came more recently. So we've been married for 18 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I was going to get there.
Yeah.
18 years.
Yeah. Celebrated 18 years in December.
Look at y'all. Y'all grown.
Yeah, we grown.
In marriage years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we grown.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So we actually had a Zulu traditional wedding in December where we celebrated our 18th anniversary. And that's where I saw a lot of differences. So basically, we were married, but I was not married in the Zulu tradition.
Correct.
So a lot of the rules, and the cultural ways of doing things didn't necessarily apply to me because we had not done the Zulu wedding.
Yes.
So that was an education. Yeah, that was an education.
And your kids were able to even be a part of it.
I was amazing. I have 3 boys.
Yes.
They were a part of it. My mom, my sisters came. Wow. We had a lot of relatives that came and friends from the U.S. So that was amazing because I learned so much about culture in that moment because I had read about traditional weddings and I had been to some. Yes. But my husband's family is very traditional. Okay. They live in Chrystle, Natal, and so they really followed, protocol, cultural protocol in terms of how the Zulu wedding is supposed to go. Okay. And many of my friends who are South African actually said this was their first time actually ever experiencing such a traditional wedding.
Because of how traditional they are?
Very traditional.
Okay.
There was not any kind of Western influence in our wedding. And I think now there's a lot of fusion between the West, Western culture. And that wedding did not have any. Really? No, there was no Western influence in this particular wedding at all. No, it was not.
Other than your family that came
which was
from
my family, but they were doing what they were supposed to do, in terms of the Zulu tradition. So that was amazing. I'll have to share pictures with you.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Man,
there was a lot of learning, because it's different when you read about it versus being in it.
Okay.
So that was a beautiful experience. Okay. It was challenging because it was just so different. And I thought I knew. Sometimes you think but you don't.
You don't.
So I think I thought I knew, what I needed to know.
Okay.
Or that I was on that path of learning about the culture, but I realized there was so much I did not know, and so much that I'm still learning.
To this day.
Yeah, so it was very humbling as well. It was very humbling. You don't know everything. Sit down and listen. You still need to get an education. So, I think I thought I knew more than I did.
Which means a lot, but y'all will see why. But that means a lot, the statement that she said. Yeah. And I'm just sitting here mad and excited all at the same time, right? I'm mad because I'm like, man, I'm 2 months behind on meeting you and this experience that I could have embraced and embarking upon myself. But then as well, I'm like, wow. And just to hear you say there were various challenges, if you could share, maybe one, what was a challenge that you experienced during that overall ceremony that caught you by surprise?
I think one of the challenges is I grew up in a female-headed household. And my father and I do not have a relationship. And so within Zulu culture, men and women, they both play very important roles.
Yes.
But the role of a father is really critical in terms of a wedding.
Okay.
And so the father or a male relative is supposed to play a really critical role in the ceremony. He's supposed to welcome, the family, welcome my husband's family, and they're supposed to welcome my family, and my father is supposed to play that role. Okay. He's also supposed to be the one that in Western culture we would say giving it away.
Yes.
I'm not sure what the proper term is. I'm not sure if it's called the same thing, but essentially kind of giving me to that family.
Yes.
And we did not have a male family member to do that. So that was a little bit of a source of tension because my mom at my wedding in the US, she walked me down the aisle.
Okay.
And my mom gave me away.
Okay.
So that felt right to me because she had raised me.
Correct.
But within Zulu culture, and specifically the way that my husband's family does things, they're supposed to be a male. So that was a bit of a challenge. So we thought about having my father be a part of it, and we had considered that, but then it just didn't feel right.
Yes.
It just didn't feel right because we had not had a relationship.
Yes.
So that was a bit of a challenge because at first it just felt like, when you grow up without a father, you think about, okay, I grew up as a child without a father. Yes. And then when you become an adult, it didn't impact me as much. It definitely played a role, but it didn't impact me as much. But I think it just kind of brought up some baggage.
Okay.
It was kind of a trigger for me because it just felt like, how long do I have to be the person without a father? I thought that I was kind of done with that, because when you're in school, you have Father's Day, you have daddy-daughter dances. And so it just felt like I'm a 43-year-old woman and I'm still being asked where my father is. So it was a little bit triggering for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was hard for me.
That's
So that was one of the biggest challenges, is just wanting to, my husband thought maybe to include him, and I just felt like I just don't feel comfortable with that.
Right, but traditionally for him, he's like, no, this is a part.
Yeah.
And of course, there's that challenge of trying to see and understand all that you've been through and went through.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that was very interesting.
Yes, and so when you did your, we'll call it Western wedding, or you had your first wedding in the States?
Yes, so we got married 2005.
Yes.
Yeah, in Washington, D.C.
In Washington, okay. Yeah. Did his family come over?
His mom did. And we had a lot of South African friends who attended.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were already in the U.S. Okay. Yeah, there's a pretty significant size South African community in D.C.
In D.C.?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
which
in
I can
Maryland,
imagine.
DMV area. Yeah, so we had a lot of friends there. It was a small wedding, though. It's about 90 people.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
that's medium, I guess. Medium.
Right, I was about to say, definitely, that's small.
Yeah.
I think it's...
But weddings on the continent can get to 500.
Yeah, man, it can get extreme.
Yeah.
It can be ridiculous. There's other ways to spend the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This one was bigger.
The one that was here?
Yeah. Yeah, this one was bigger. At my home, we had part of the celebration at my home.
Yes.
I think there were probably 150 people there. And then the celebration in Natal, I have no idea. It must have been 200-300.
Okay. And is it just
Or
because
more.
of culturally that's the reason, or because of the family that you married into?
So I think that, just from my understanding,
Yes, ma'am.
the wedding is not just for the couple. The wedding's for the family, for the community.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not about you just have this very short list of select people that you invite.
Yes.
It's the community is invited. So in Chrystle, we didn't send out a formal invitation to certain people.
Okay.
You know, we shared the invitation with family members,
Yes.
and then they spread the word to the community. So there were community members that came, and that was awesome. Because like when we got to the village, we were like blowing our horn to share that we were there, and like people were starting to walk down to the ceremony. It was awesome. It just really felt like you had a lot of love surrounding you. Yeah.
Look at you! Look at you! Like, who would have thought? This young lady out of Kentucky is about to embark upon this whole other world, a whole nother continent, with a whole nother culture. And so, let me just ask this, because there may be people watching, Americans specifically, right, that may look to get married to somebody from another culture, or even specifically to somebody in South Africa, because there are a lot of Americans coming over, visiting and things like that. They may find love on a visit, and but even with it all, what would you advise for them in the process of just, hey, be aware of this, or just know this is a part of the merging of cultures and all? Like, what would you wish you were told prior to saying I do, if there was anything?
I mean, what I wish I would have been told prior to saying I do is not necessarily around culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily around culture. It was more around accepting people for who they are.
I like it.
And not trying to change them. And I know we say that, but I think that I still was trying to.
Yes.
Come on over here.
Okay.
Come on over to my side.
Okay.
You know, and I think marriage, you know, to be in a marriage and to be in a marriage for a long time, it's really about like accepting the person as they are.
Yes.
And like being on that journey for who they're going to become without you trying to necessarily tell them what they should become.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe you're going to
So
influence
true.
it a bit because you're the partner,
Right.
but not necessarily telling them you need to do it like this. You need to
Okay.
do it like that.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's been more about acceptance. I think I would tell people to, you know, date people, right? Don't date cultures per se, like date people.
That's
you know,
nice.
because unfortunately, it was more so when I actually got to South Africa than when I was in the U.S.
Okay.
When I told my mom I was marrying somebody from South Africa, she didn't have any reaction. It was like the same reaction she had when I told her I was dating somebody from Birmingham.
Okay.
You know, there was no baggage that she had associated with me dating somebody from the continent.
Yes.
Nobody in my family had any negative things to say. They were just welcoming. They were excited for me. But I think when I got here, I would start to hear negative things about Zulu men or negative things about this particular group. And I realized that you have to date individuals, you know, and yes, my husband is Zulu, but he's also an individual.
Yes.
And he has his own way of being, his own way of doing things. Some are influenced by him being Zulu, some are not.
Okay.
You know, so I think that you don't want to box people in.
Yeah.
Because I felt like when I got here, people would tell me, "Oh, Zulu men, they do this.
Yes.
Zulu men, they did that." And I was like, that hasn't been my experience.
Yes.
You know, so I think just experiencing it for yourself and not let people guide you and tell you that this is how Xhosa men are. This is how, you know, Spedi men are.
Yes.
Just date individuals and you see for yourself how they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful advice in general, right?
Yeah.
Because that can go over cultures,
Yeah,
that can
race,
go over
yeah.
color,
Yeah, you're
right?
right.
It
Yeah.
can transcend, date the person,
Yeah.
right? Not the exterior or the culture.
And that's the beautiful part of them. You know, it's not to subtract that
Yes.
from them.
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
yes, yes.
Yeah, it's not that those things are not important. They are, but don't allow it to shape your perspective of who they are before you meet them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got one last question now. Now that I know that there was this whole Zulu wedding situation, right? And, you know, maybe just the ignorant American of me. Are there any expectations of you after the traditional Zulu wedding that now on the back end?
So I think that's where it becomes important in terms of like individuals.
Okay.
Right? Because I think that,
like that.
with certain individuals, there are. There are expectations that now that we're married, you're expected to do these things. However, my husband and I, when we initially got married, we had already negotiated what our roles were within the relationship. And those roles are fluid, and sometimes they change. Sometimes you're holding up 20%, sometimes he's doing 80, vice versa.
Correct.
But in general, we don't have like stereotypical gender roles in our home, and that's remained the same.
Yes. No, I dig that. And I'm with that, because every marriage is different. Every marriage is specifically unique, and they operate and flow what's necessary for the two, right? Or for those that come together. We'll put it that way as well. And out of the union that you all have, you have 3 sons, right? Like, how's that? Like, you come from 3 ladies. And now there are 3 plus 1, but 3 men, young men in the house. What is that like now for you?
I enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. I mean, I'm definitely, trying to, my husband, in our tribe, we're definitely trying to produce like incredible men that will, be of service to themselves and of service to the world. But I don't necessarily think I'm raising them any, that differently than I would raise females.
Okay.
I would want, pretty much the same things to happen. We would want them to be responsible, to be kind, to be caring, to be committed. So I feel like I don't think too much about it. I kind of like being the only woman, though. I won't lie.
Okay.
I feel like I get spoiled a little bit.
That's
I'm
it.
a female.
That's it.
There's some perks.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. And, even raising our son, right? And I just, certain things you teach, right? Chivalry is still a thing that we uphold in this house. And I can only imagine if it's 4 to 1. Man.
Yeah, but they don't give me a hard time. They don't give me a hard
time. Right. No, not men. No, of course not. No. We easy breezy. But have all of them? Well, no, that couldn't have been the case. So which ones were born here as opposed to there?
My oldest, Timba, he's 14. He was born in the U.S.
Okay.
So we came to South Africa when he was 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and the other 2 were born here. Wow. So Kanya is 2, and then Amari is 4.
Okay, 2 and 4.
Yep, that's an adventure.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Yeah, now that's what you need
14.
That's what you need to ask me about.
2 and 4.
Yeah.
Like what? Since we're here, the numbers are here. We now know the numbers, and
the numbers are here.
The thought comes to mind. Why such a gap? But then the double down after the gap.
Yeah. So that's an interesting question. I have answered that before. Okay. I think I'll say this. When we had Temba, I was 29. I was kind of like a very much of a hustling phase.
Yes.
In my life in terms of my career. I'd always had this feeling that there's something big that I'm supposed to be doing, that I'm supposed to be offering to the world. Okay. So I was very much a mother, but I was very, very, very invested in my career.
Yes.
Yeah. If I'm honest, I might have been more invested in my career.
Yes, ma'am.
I think sometimes the scales were not balanced in that way. So I think I just wanted one child. I felt like with what I wanted to do, with the contribution that I wanted to make to the world, I felt like I wouldn't be able to be a parent to more than one child.
Okay.
And then I'd also started my journey in the U.S. So in the U.S., I have a wonderful family, but they're very busy. Everybody was working. Everybody's, also in that hustling phase. Yeah. So we didn't have a ton of help, in terms of childcare and things like that. Yeah. So that also made it a challenge.
Of course.
When we moved to South Africa, my husband's mom is here and she's retired. Okay. And so she was able to assist a lot. And I think we also started asking for help as well.
Yes, okay.
So I think one of the things that South Africans have taught me is that it's not about what you can do by yourself, it's what you can do together. Because I used to brag about being able to do everything. Yes. My husband would come home, I would say, I washed clothes, I cooked dinner, I took the baby for a walk, I went to the gym, or maybe not the gym. But I would just brag about doing everything by myself. Yes. And even when I got to South Africa, where there were many people around who were able to help me, it took me a while to receive that help. So it wasn't overnight that when I moved to South Africa that I received that help. Yes. To be honest, it wasn't until maybe my son was like 7 or 8. He used to actually go to school with me, like when I was doing training. I would go to school on the weekends. Like I wouldn't ask anybody to babysit. You know, and I remember one day I came home and I was, my husband came home and I was bragging again about how I had done everything by myself.
Yes.
And he said, that's not good. Like, why are you bragging about doing everything by yourself? There are people who would be willing to help if you ask. And I'm sure that would have been the case in the U.S. as well, but I didn't ask.
Yes.
But also a lot of our friends there, they were just, you know, the same age as us and just in that hustling mode.
Yeah.
So I think I started asking for help, and I realized that parenting is still challenging, but it's not as challenging as I thought it was.
Okay.
You know, and so we decided that we wanted to expand our family.
Yes.
So there goes Amari.
Yep.
And then I had so much support, I wanted another one. I was like, somebody can hold the baby while I go to sleep? This is amazing. You know, I was used to, when I was in the U.S., when Timba would go to sleep, I would get up, wash clothes, iron, you know, do all, you know, we know, it's not unusual in the U.S., you know. But here, and you know, it's not unusual in South Africa as well. There are many people who also do that.
Yes.
But here, we could actually afford to have someone assist us.
Yes.
We could have, you know, Tulani's mom assist us. We could have other family members, colleagues. So I think we just learned how to ask for help, and it really kind of epitomized having, you know, multiple people, a community raises children, not just you.
Yeah.
But at first, we were trying to do it by ourselves.
Okay. Oh man.
Yeah. And then age was creeping up on me. And so, you know, I felt like if we were going to expand, then like let's go ahead and just kind of do it now.
Okay. Was any of it like, let's try for a girl?
No.
Okay. I dig that.
Yeah, I felt like God has just been so generous to us that I just felt like I couldn't be specific about that.
Okay.
I wanted just a healthy child, and there's nothing wrong with asking for a gender.
Yes.
But I just felt like for me personally, like I couldn't even do that.
Okay.
I just want a healthy child.
Just a healthy child would be good enough.
Yeah,
that's how it's already been good.
Yeah, that's all I want.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So as you were talking, whether you knew it or not, you were really talking to me, right?
Yeah.
And of course, with us just coming here in August, we still do have that American mentality of I can do it myself, I can get it done, and these are the things that we're doing. As opposed to people have reached out to say, hey, we can help, or so forth and so on.
Yeah.
However, just even doing and stepping over the hurdle to say, okay, we'll open ourselves up to somebody assisting us and doing different things for us. It's an adjustment. But as you were talking, I was just hearing, okay, it can be done.
Yes, it can.
All is well, and to be able to relieve some of the things that you are doing will avail yourselves to other things as well that maybe you should be doing or that you can do well or better because you're trying to juggle so many things. So interesting. But that's beautiful that your husband brought that to your attention, right?
Yeah, and to his credit, he had brought it to my attention before.
Yes, yeah.
But I was just not ready to listen. I wasn't ready to receive it.
Correct, because it's almost like a badge of honor to be able to say,
proud of myself. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, a lot of us Americans are proud of how many things we could do at one time.
Yes.
And not necessarily the quality of the things that you are doing when you are doing them. So, yeah. And that's one of my things that I'm working on this year. You know, you get resting.
Oh, resting. Okay.
Resting, not doing so much. And so saying no.
Saying no.
Because I'm quick to say yes.
Okay.
Like, if there's 23 hours of my day taken, I give one away, right? I got one more. However, now I've been, instructed and taught to rest more. And so to your husband's even advice, saying and open and asking for help could be a part of what is necessary. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a gift that you give to people. Like when people offer to help, they want to help you. And so when you say no, it's like you're shutting them out. So I realized like you're stopping someone from blessing you. Like, and that's a blessing that they want to give out.
Correct.
So I think I had to realize that.
Yes.
In order to be able to receive.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Man, let me keep myself teared up because and in it all, because I'm definitely one to give help. And with that idea, right? I know I can be a blessing to somebody if they just, open up, let me just do what I do. But if it was on the other end, on the other side, then I would, feel like, man, I could really help.
And it feels good to you, right? Like when you help someone, it feels good.
Correct. Yeah. Get energy from everywhere just to help them. So, okay. Thank you. I receive, and I'll be on the lookout, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shouts out to your husband.
Yeah.
He's still teaching, instructing, and advising.
Yes, he is.
And it's poured on over here. And so, more than anything, you've come over, right? You've moved to Johannesburg. That's where you all first.
Well, we actually came to Cape Town first.
Cape Town.
Yeah, we went to Cape Town first.
How long were you in Cape Town?
We were there for a short time.
Short time.
Yeah, the goal was always to be in Johannesburg.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were there just for a short time.
Gotcha. And so you came to Johannesburg. Where did you all land once you were ready to call Johannesburg home?
When we first moved to Johannesburg, we were still not sure that we were going to call it home.
Okay.
Yeah, I think even when we moved to South Africa, we thought, my husband wanted to come back, but we thought it would be for a short period of time.
Yes.
We thought maybe we'll spend 5 years, 2. We left it open.
Okay.
We didn't say we're moving there forever. When we moved, but at the end of 2011, I got a vision to start the school. Like I had just had thought about it before when I was in the U.S. But then it just wouldn't leave me.
Okay.
I just kept hearing, like in the back of my mind, like, you're complaining about all these challenges that you see. Do something.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And so I had that vision to start the school.
Yeah.
And so I remember we moved to Johannesburg in 2012. I think we looked at each other and we were just like, I think we're going to be here for a while.
Okay.
Like if we're starting a school, then I'm not going to just start a school and just leave.
Yes.
So I think that made us really commit to the country.
Yeah,
the school
yeah.
kind of put us in a position to commit to the country.
Okay, now were you teaching back in the States?
Yes.
So you already had experience teaching?
Yes,
and
I was an English and social studies teacher.
Okay.
And then my last year in the States, I was working in DC, and I was running the middle school portion of an after school program, which I really enjoyed.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that gave me a glimpse into leadership.
Okay.
I was no longer a teacher. I had more autonomy over what the students could learn, over what they could do. So I really felt like, I kind of like this.
Okay.
I have a lot of ideas to share.
Yeah.
And so I think that gave me a glimpse at what it might be like to do something on my own.
Okay.
Because this program didn't really exist at first.
Okay.
And so I had the opportunity to kind of create it with my team, with the team that I was working with.
Yeah. Okay. And so you were teaching in the DC area?
Yes.
Okay. And you went to Wisconsin for your master's program.
Yes.
And which is why I'm wearing my LSU paraphernalia because
he's trying to rub
before,
it in my face.
before having this conversation, we had one, and I was just seeing what she knew about college football because in the States, football, like football, FOOT ball, is very big in the States, especially college football, and Wisconsin, not too long beat, or excuse me. They wish. LSU not too long beat Wisconsin in the bowl game, so I said I had to wear my paraphernalia since you was coming to do this conversation. However, what was school like in Wisconsin? Like, what was that like? That portion of your
I
life?
don't really feel like I got I really had like a great university experience there. I think that I came from a small undergrad with I think 1,300 students.
Okay.
And so normally, like you literally knew everybody on campus.
Of course.
If there was someone who was like visiting, you could just see they're not supposed, like who you're visiting, like you could tell who didn't belong there.
Yeah.
And so I really loved that environment, and I really thrived in that small environment.
Okay.
I felt seen, I felt heard. We had professors that would call you if you didn't show up to class.
Okay.
It was just such an intimate community.
Yes.
In my education classes, sometimes there were 6 of us in the class.
Okay.
So Wisconsin, I deliberately wanted to go somewhere bigger.
Yes.
And I think I didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
Right.
I felt very lost.
Okay.
So I didn't really build a lot of relationships in Wisconsin.
Okay.
I enjoyed the program. The program was awesome. I did education policy and community studies. So the program was amazing, strengthened my writing, my research skills. But in terms of like building relationships, not so much.
Okay.
Yeah, I managed to make a couple of friends that I still keep up with.
Yes.
But it didn't have the impact on me that my undergrad did.
Gotcha. Now, were you married when you went to Wisconsin?
No, I went to Wisconsin straight after undergrad.
Okay.
So I was there in 2003, and then I got married in 2005.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Doing that numbers, da.
Yeah.
But nonetheless,
Calculating,
that's it. You know what I'm saying? It'll work its way back in the conversation.
Yeah.
And you finished DC, did your thing, but then you came here and you talked about starting a school here, but we just have to make sure people bridge the gap and all those things because you started an academy, right? What's the name of the academy?
Pololo Academy.
Okay. And where'd the name come from?
The name means to set free. And so my husband and I, when we were trying to think of a name for the school, we were just having a conversation about what education did for us.
Yes.
And for me, it was liberating.
Okay.
And so I asked my husband, can you help me find a word in one of the Black South African languages that means to set free, freedom. And so initially it was Kulula, which is the Zulu version of Hololo. Hololo is Tswana.
Okay.
But there used to be an airline, which has gone out of business, named Kulula.
Okay.
And they refused to allow us to use the name. So when we tried to register the name, it came back as a no. And I wrote this beautiful letter asking them, can we please use the name? Ours is spelled differently. They said no.
Okay.
So we went with the Tswana version.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just have to take this moment to say shouts out to the Grover and Sarah McKenzie Family Foundation that actually connected us.
Yes, thank
right?
you.
They're the reason why we're even talking today, and that they support as well
they've
the
been
Academy.
Great supporters of the Academy.
Yeah, from the States.
Yes.
And saw the good work that you're doing and said, I want to be a part. They support. And shouts out to them again for allowing this connection to take place, but then as well for us to be able to say, okay, we could be a part of the things that are being done at the Academy and to see the growth of it. So speaking specifically to it, why? Like what made you say, right? I know you and your husband start talking about education and so forth and so on, but why Alexandria that you decided as well, let me start a school, an academy here?
So Tulani is from Alexandra Township. He was born and raised there.
Okay.
And Tulani had a very interesting experience. He went to government schools. In the U.S., we would call them public schools.
Yes.
So he went to government schools for his primary school, his secondary school, his high school. And his 10th grade year, he was actually studying on a bus, an abandoned bus on one of the main roads in Alexandria, London Road. He was with several of his friends. And there was a gentleman who taught at the America International School of Johannesburg who was just walking around Alex. We're still not exactly sure what he was up to, but he was just in the community by himself and came across my husband and his friends on this bus and became curious and ended up offering them extra classes, offering them tutoring. And that tutoring soon turned into scholarships. So my husband and two of his friends were offered scholarships to the American International School of Johannesburg. And that completely changed the trajectory of his life.
Yeah.
And I knew that story. You know, Tulani had told me that story, you know, when we were friends in Berea College. And I was always just really proud of him, you know, excited about that story. It wasn't until I moved to South Africa that that story started to bother me a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I started to problematize that a bit. Because when I would speak to successful South Africans who were from communities like Alex, they had similar stories of being discovered.
Okay.
You know, they were, you know, got discovered to be in this program.
Okay.
You know, they were in this competition and somebody discovered them and gave them a scholarship to a prestigious private school.
Okay.
They were all discovered.
I'm catching you.
And so I thought to myself, why do you have to be discovered to have access to a high quality education?
Yes.
Why can't you just go to school and focus and learn, and then that will put you on the path to being what you want to be in life? But the more that I spoke to people who came from communities like Alex and made it, they all had similar stories of being discovered. And I really wanted to interrupt that. You know, I really wanted to create a space where you don't have to be discovered. You don't have to be lucky in order to have access to a world-class education. You don't have to be in the right place at the right time, you know, and randomly run into someone in order to have access to a world-class education. You should be able to get that education within your community as well. So that was another challenge. A lot of South Africans who've made it, not all of course, but many of them were kind of plucked out of their communities and received scholarships to some of your more prestigious schools, which is great. You know, but I think it's also a problem. Why do you have to leave your community in order to have access to a high quality education? So my sons, my two oldest, go to my school, but if they didn't, in the community where we live, they could get access to a high quality education in the community that we live in. You know, but for children in Alex, that's not the case. And so we really wanted to create a school in Alex. That was one of the things that had to be. You know, it had to be in place. It had to be in Alex. And I got a lot of pushback about that. A lot of people felt that Alex has challenges, which it does. It has a lot of beauty. It also has a lot of challenges. but the kids are from there.
Right.
You know, and so why do they have to leave in order to access this world-class education? Why can't we demonstrate that this world-class education can happen where they're from? You know, how much pride would it give our students, our community to know that these kids learned here, and they are on the path to achieving their hopes and dreams. And so that was something that was really important for me when we started the school. It was also important for me that it was open enrollment.
Okay.
And so it was on a first come, first serve basis.
Okay.
You don't have to be a genius in order to get access to a high quality education, because for privileged people, you just have to be privileged. You don't have to have a high IQ in order to get access to a high quality education. You just have to be and to be able to afford it. You know, but for Black children, you have to be, you know, if you're Black and you're poor, you need to be a genius.
Okay.
You need to be able to walk on water
Okay.
in order to have access to a high quality education. And I just felt like that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
So that was the inspiration behind it. Yeah.
That's cool. Like, that's beautiful, right? Like, I'm just whirlwinding everything from what you are saying to the website that I saw, right? And getting glimpses of things, and even the YouTube channel that I had a chance to look at as well. And it's funny seeing you now. The video was what, 7 years ago?
Yeah, the one I showed you.
Yeah, and it was fun. It's fun.
Yeah, more gray hair.
Yeah,
more gray hair.
Oh, your words, not mine.
I'm okay with it. It's wisdom.
There it is, right?
Yeah,
and I think a beautiful thing that you said that I want to make sure people caught is that your children go there.
Yes.
Right? It's not a school that, you know, you all started, co-founded, right? Co-founded the school, and it's not just something that you're doing for the kids there. It's something you're doing for your kids, our kids, right? And what made you say, I want my child to go here as well?
Well, you know, like I said, the school was definitely inspired by my husband's story and our desire to provide, you know, the children of Alex with access to a world-class education. But if I'm honest, it was also for my own child. Yeah. You know, I also wanted to create a school where I felt like my own child would be safe, where my own child would not have to deal with some of the things that I had to deal with coming from Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. You know, in terms of sometimes feeling that I'm not sure if all of my teachers are for me. Okay. You know, I'm not sure if all of my teachers are giving 100% because of my race. That was always on the table for me in school. And I had some fantastic teachers. Yes. Most of whom happened to be white. Okay. But for many of the teachers, it was still a question that I had. Is I don't know if they would, I wonder if they would push me harder if I looked like them. You know, and I didn't want that to be on the table for my son's education. Yes. Of course, race is going to always be on the table. We can't escape it. But for his schooling, I didn't want that to be something in the back of his mind when his teachers were teaching him. Yes. Are they pushing me? Wow. Do they want the best for me? Yeah. And so now that the school's been here since what, 2014? 15. And 2015 had your first class and all. And so what grades do you all have offered and available for the kids? Yeah, so we have grade R, which is equivalent to kindergarten in the U.S., and we are up to grade 9. And so what we've done is we've added a grade each year. So in 2015 we had pre-R and grade R. We've since let go of pre-R, and then we went to first, and now we're up to grade 9, and then we'll continue to grow until we reach grade 12. That's it. Yeah. So is the goal in 3 years to be there, or as the as the kids grow, the school grows. The school grows with them. So my son started off at the school in grade R. He's in grade 9. He's in grade 9. Yeah, so he'll keep going until he's in grade 12. That's fun. Yeah. So what is that like? What is that like, planning for and anticipating another year as far as being available, and then it actually happens? Like, what is that like? I'm sure there's anticipation, there's nervousness, there's excitement, there's wonderment. Like, what goes into that? Well, I have a great team. Okay. So I think I don't have to think about everything on my own. So that's something that was really important for me from the beginning, is that I'm not just keeping, you know, knowledge that I have for myself, that I'm sharing it with others. And of course, they're also sharing their knowledge with me. So one of the things that I did early on was make sure that I was developing people to do the things that I knew how to do, so that I'm not the only one who could do it. Correct. And so that's something that has paid off. It was very difficult to do. It was very time consuming, but now I have just such a solid team, you know, where I have one person thinking about operations, another person that's thinking more about instruction. And so that's something that's been really helpful. So it becomes more challenging when you move to a different phase. So not necessarily a different grade.
Yes.
So grades R through 3, that's a phase.
Okay.
That's foundation phase. And so when you're growing from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3, they have the same subjects. And so it's not a big challenge to grow within the same phase.
Yes.
But when you move to a different phase, there are new subjects that are introduced, and you have to also think about increasing the autonomy that students have, thinking about how the routines and procedures that you have are different for first graders and fourth graders.
Yeah.
So those are things that you have to think about in terms of phases. So this year we have grade 9. So that was not a huge transition because it's still in the senior phase. Senior phase is grade 7 to 9. Next year is going to be a jump. Yeah. So next year we're ready. We're preparing right now for that's going to be a big leap. Because in 10th grade in South Africa, you essentially have to choose a major.
Okay.
Yeah. So in South Africa, you have to choose a major. You have to choose 3 electives. And so if you're somebody that maybe you want to go to medical school, you would study the sciences. You can choose to study the life science, chemistry, biology. If you're someone who wants to go into law, maybe you would do history as a subject. So there's various paths that students can take. And so just making sure that you are preparing students to be able to select those paths, because in South Africa, it really does matter what you do in high school. In the U.S. we have a little bit more flexibility. But in South Africa, if you didn't take those classes that you needed to take for pre-med, you're not going to get into that program. I'm sure there's other ways to get to take those courses. But it's going to be something that you have to add on top of your matric. So that's going to be a big leap next year. So it's going to take a lot of support from our parents, from our team, in order to make that leap. In order to make sure that we're prepared for that. But next year is the big year.
Correct, because I'm even hearing
it's the last 3 years of school.
The last 3, whereas in the States there's technical high schools in some cases, and there's college prep as well, and so usually those are the 2 lanes you can go down. But
we also have those. South Africa also does have technical schools. So for students who are not necessarily interested in focusing on academics in grade 10, they can do a technical school instead.
Gotcha. So you'll be availing yourself to whichever way.
So we're more focused on university prep.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're more university prep school.
Yes.
We want students to be able to go to university if they choose. We know that everybody's not going to choose that, and we're okay with that, but we want it to at least be a choice. Because right now, for so many children, it's not a choice. They're not prepared for university, and many of them want to go, but they're not prepared. They don't have the academic foundation, they don't have the social emotional foundation in order to succeed. So we want to make sure that we have character, academics in place, so that if our students choose that path, they're going to have what it takes to succeed. And those skills also translate to the workplace as well.
That's so very true. What is it like to have a school, right, in Alex, knowing where you came from, the life that you've lived and experienced and have seen yourself, and now having 3 sons and many other children that are at the school? What is it like driving to the school every day you get the opportunity to do so?
I think I have mixed feelings.
Yes.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings.
Okay.
Alex, as many people know, is a community that has a lot of promise. It has a lot of strengths. Community is one of the biggest strengths in Alex.
Okay.
People are there for each other. People look out for each other.
Yeah.
But Alex also is one of the most economically disenfranchised urban communities in the country.
Okay.
As well.
Okay.
And so I don't want to pretend like that's not a thing, because it is.
Yes.
So I definitely see, the community when I go there. I see the challenges, but I think I see the opportunity more.
Correct.
Yeah, I focus more on the promise of the community, because I feel like Alex has so much promise.
I agree.
And I think it hasn't yet realized its promise. And so I feel like every day I have an opportunity to support my staff, to support my students, and in achieving their hopes and dreams. And so it's not easy. It's a very challenging it's very challenging work.
Yeah.
I always say that when you work in education, it's unlike other fields, because you have to bring your whole self. You can't hide, behind an office door.
Okay.
You are on the front lines, and you bring you and all of your beauty and all of your baggage.
Yes.
And so it's a lot. It's very taxing. mentally. And so I have to rely a lot on my support system, to support me.
Yes.
And, to support me in just taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Because you can easily neglect yourself when you work in an environment where you're working with so many children.
Yes.
And you're thinking about their needs and like what they need to do in order to be successful. So sometimes you can put yourself last.
Yeah.
So that, I think that's the major challenge is just prioritizing my health, prioritizing myself. Those are the things I have to really keep in mind. But I love it. Even when it's challenging, even when I just feel like this is a lot. When I look at my students and I see like that logo, the Hololo Academy logo on their shirt, I remember that these families, these children, they are counting on me. They are counting on our team in order to get them to where we said that we were going to get them.
Okay.
Which is to a place where they can achieve their hopes and dreams. So that's what pushes me. I do a lot of work outside of the school, meeting with funders, building relationships. So I'm not at the school every day.
Yes.
But often when I'm feeling like I need some momentum, I go back to the school and I visit and I talk to students, and that like fills me up and it gives me the strength to keep pushing.
Rightfully so. I mean, I can only imagine, which I'm excited even as well to do a tour of the school.
Yes, I can't wait for you to come.
And just to show and allow for people that are looking and watching to see the things that you all have achieved, the things that you all are doing, and the potential that is even probably prevalent and present upon walking on the school grounds. And so even with that, right, knowing that you're making a difference, and I see and I saw where the school is as powerful as it is because of not only the teachers' involvement but the parents' involvement. What was that like, getting the parents to be involved in their children's education? Because I say that as a parent of a child that's in school, and I am the way I am with my children because of the way my parents were with me. And so very involved, very attentive still to this day. You'll find my mom in the comments on every video and watching different things. My dad too, right? And he's very, very intricate in my life. And so I definitely was blessed in that respect. And so knowing that it takes not only the teachers, but the parents' involvement. What is that like? Like, is it conversations? Is it reminders? Is it like what? So this is really what I'm asking all of this to say. What twinkle in the eye of the parents do you see as they send their children to the school each day?
I think that it's a farce when you hear people say that parents from low income communities, underserved communities, they're not invested in their children's education.
True.
I hear that a lot.
Okay.
And often people will be surprised when I tell them that our parents are very involved, in their children's education. I think that parents in low income communities and under-resourced communities, which is really what they are, sometimes they're not involved because we don't involve them. And I think in our community, our teachers have bachelor's degrees.
Okay.
Some of them have honors degrees.
Nice.
Many of our parents don't.
Yeah.
And so what I saw early on was that our parents often felt like they don't need to be involved as much because you all are the experts.
Okay.
So it wasn't that they were neglecting their responsibilities. It was more trust.
Yeah.
Like you're the expert,
That's nice.
You're the person with the degree. I trust you to do what's best for my children. We had to spend a lot of time educating our parents and working with our parents to let them know that we appreciate your trust and we do need that, but we need you.
Yes.
Like you're the expert on your child.
Yeah.
No matter how many letters I have behind my name, no matter how many degrees I have, I will never be the expert on your child. Okay. And so we need you to engage. And I think when we got that point across to parents, we haven't had a problem. For the past 10 years, we've had 95 to 100% participation in our parent-teacher conferences. And we have 100%, 95 or 100%, because if you, for some reason, don't come, we just keep calling you until you come.
Okay.
Or we might just go pull up.
Okay. Hello. Look at you.
Let's talk about your child's education. But we just make sure that, we hold parents accountable, and they also hold us accountable as well. I think parents are trusting us. Yeah. Which is a lot of responsibility. And I think sometimes it is overwhelming to see, when you look at a parent and they're looking at you like you're going to help my child reach their goals, it's something I don't take for granted. Like, I feel like that's big, you know, and I think the pressure is making sure that happens. You know, I think that's why it can be so stressful, is because you can feel that weight, you know, that parents are trusting you to make a difference. And it can be overwhelming, but it's one that I'm happy that I have the opportunity to do.
Yeah. And so, pulling from the website, right, I had the opportunity to see this line, which I love and want to hear like your thoughts about it. And so I'm gonna try to say the name.
Okay.
I won't. How do you say the name?
So my colleagues say it better than I do.
Okay.
But Hololo.
You
know, yeah.
Academies.
They would say that we were close.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ride with that. Academy's mission is to provide scholars from the Alexandria Township with access to a world-class education within their community at an accessible cost, which you spoke of so beautifully, even as you've already shared about the school. However, not why is that such a big deal. However, because you shared, right? You talked about the cost. You talked about being discovered, and you talked about the, you know, the things that goes along with that and why, right? However, with you bringing the school to Alex with this mission in mind, you said there was some conflict. There were some that said why there, don't do it here. What was like, not the reasons why, but what was like the main reason to say, no. And all that you're saying, I hear it, but I'm going to take on this responsibility to make sure the mission of the school takes place.
I think I had the privilege of seeing high quality schools in under-resourced communities.
Okay. Where at?
In Washington, D.C.
In D.C.
Yeah, so I worked at a school called E.O. Haynes on Georgia Avenue. And at that time, I think it's changed, but at that time, to the left was a strip club, and to the right was a liquor store. And it was not a high-end fancy. No, yes, it was right next door. And actually, when we moved to that location, we used to be located elsewhere. And when we moved to that location, we had a beautiful brand new building. We still had parents to take their children out because of where it was located. You know, but inside of that school, there were high expectations. Over, you know, the time that I was there, our school consistently received awards. We received recognition for our performance. You know, so students were learning, students were making the strides they needed to make, and it was in an under-resourced community. So I think I had that, I'd already seen it before. So it wasn't hard for me to imagine. I think in, not just in South Africa, it's many places, but I think in South Africa, I don't know that it exists in many places. You know, I don't know that people have seen this school that has high performance, not just a high performing teacher, but the whole school is high performing, and it's in an under-resourced community. I don't know that people have actually seen that. And if they've seen it, it was an anomaly. You know, so I think I had the pleasure of seeing it, and so it wasn't hard for me to believe. You know, but I think the pushback was that, why don't you just put it just outside of Alex? Just across the street.
I was about to say, get a little close to Santon.
Yeah, we are close to Santon, right? We're close to Marlboro, we're close to Weinberg, we're close to Bramley. You know, so people were encouraging me to just put it just outside, because being outside of Alex means better to many people. Yes.
I get what you're saying.
So if it's not in Alex, that means it's good. Even if it's just across the street. Even if it's just across the street. It's okay. And so when I was doing our feasibility study about the school, there were parents that didn't really care what we were going to have. If it was going to be in Alex, no. Wait, will I send my child there? And so we realized those are not our parents. We're not going to spend time and resources trying to convince those parents. We want parents who feel like high quality education can happen in our community. It will actually bring me a source of pride to send my child to a school in Alex that's of high quality. So those are the parents that we started chasing. And we've had, over the years, we've had some parents leave the school. And many of them have actually come back. We've actually had parents leave the school, I think, because of societal pressure. You know, for example, we might have some parents who work at the bank. And you know, within those type of work environments, where does your child go to school? They go to Pololo Academy. Where is it? Alex. Oh. Okay.
Right. Lean back a little bit.
Right. There's that judgment.
Correct.
Right. That why are you sending your child to a school in Alex? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right. That's a thing.
The thought.
Right. So we've had parents that just felt that pressure, that societal pressure that I'm going to be judged if I send my children to Alex. You know, and so we've really just went on a journey with our parents who are there that we are in Alex. We're never going to leave Alex. We are proud to be here, and high quality education is taking place.
Yeah.
So like, let's judge Hololo on Hololo, and like, let's not prejudge a place because it's in Alex. And let's also just get rid of that baggage that high quality can't happen in your community.
Yeah. That's prolific.
Yeah. So having people let that go.
Yeah.
That you're a good person, you're a high quality person. Why can't we have a high quality school in Alex?
Right here for your child.
Yeah, I mean, Alex has produced some of the most amazing people. You know, and it's going to continue to do that.
You know, correct.
Yeah,
especially
and Hololo wants to be a part of it.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
And that's the fact. That's the fact. So much so, I love your values, right? Courage, curiosity, love, and excellence. Why those as values that you share and teach to the children?
Yeah, I think I spent a lot of time when I was doing my school design plan. I did my school design plan with KIP. I'm not sure if you're familiar with KIP. No. It's a network of charter schools in the U.S. actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
because our kids were a part of a KIP school. Now that you say that, like I saw it.
Yeah, you probably weren't thinking about me being part of KIP.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I did their school founders program, a program for people who are going to start KIP schools, but they opened it up to people who are going to start KIP inspired schools. Yeah. So I did that program, and with that program, it was a year called the Fisher Fellowship. Okay. It was a year-long fellowship where we had to create a school design plan, and we had to create values, we had to create missions, statements, visions, and you know, I just kept thinking about what are the things that lead to success. You know, thinking about on a personal level, you know, thinking about people around me, and those were the things that I really landed on. You know, just being curious about the world around you. Excellence, giving your best in everything that you do. 100% of the time. You know, that being the goal, right? Courage. Courage to be different. Courage to speak up when you see inequity. And love, and not just love of others, but one of the things that we talk a lot about is love of self. Has to be there. You know, I think within the Black community, the world doesn't teach us to love ourselves.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Loving yourself is like a radical, right? Like to love yourself in spite of what the world tells you about you. And so that's something that we just have embraced and we really promote at our school. And so the beautiful thing that you'll see it better than I can tell you, but our values don't just live on the website and on our wall. They live like within our students. You know, we talk about our values all the time. In fact, I even ask my son almost every day, which value did you uphold today? Which one do you need to work on? My oldest is a master with curiosity. You know, so he's mastered, like he's the most curious person. And so he'll tell me, okay, I'm master curiosity. I want to work on excellence this week, or I want to work on showing love to my peers, or showing love to myself. You know, so that's something that we talk about, and we encourage our parents to talk about with their children as well. And we also give rewards. Every month we have an award ceremony where we acknowledge our value keepers. So it's not just about getting A's. It's not just about getting sevens. Sevens are distinctions in South Africa. It's about being, you know, it's about aspiring to be excellent. It's about showing love. Those things are also valuable. But I think sometimes we put too much emphasis on sevens and on A's. Those are important. Those are cool. You know, but it's not the only thing that matters in terms of a person being successful. Yeah, I didn't make all A's.
No, me neither. You know what I'm saying?
I'm okay.
Because you was driving. You was driving down to my street because
really
I wasn't that straight A student.
I tried hard.
I want that 4.0 student. But at the end of the day, the teachers knew me, the kids loved me, and I had a good time, and I turned out well.
Look at you.
Right?
You went to LSU.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? As long as you said I did my job. But no, I love that, right? And one of the things I love about the values, two of them I want to talk about, which I love. Like that's my thing. And I definitely started to really embrace it when I came into the knowledge of love of myself, recognizing that out of the love of myself is how I'll be able to relate and to love others. And so I had a shift in life when I started looking at people, looking at how they were responding to others, and it would inform me whether or not they had self-love or whether they were lacking or what. And so then I knew how to address and deal and talk to people. So I see the lens through that even still to this day. So there's that, which I love that that's a part of the values and even how you express it and explained it masterfully. Curiosity. I love that, right? So just talking about that one a little bit more, because being here, I recognize how globally minded the people are, even the kids are. And from the States, we just I won't say we just, a lot of us focus on what's within our community, our area, right? But then it'll expand to the states in general, and then it'll go into the country. But most often it stops there. Not too many people within the United States have a curiosity of the world. And so how is it that here, curiosity is so prevalent, but then with yourself, even being from the States, why did you come here to say, or even establish here at the school to say, curiosity is necessary for each and every child to have as a value for themselves going forward?
I think a lot of it centers around my own experiences.
Okay.
My sister, my oldest sister, Franda, used to call me Melissa Forsyth. Melissa Forsyth was a news anchor on television when we were growing up, and asking a lot of questions, interviewing people. I've always loved to ask a ton of questions, so she used to tease me and call me that person's name, and my curiosity led me to be here. Asking questions, but why does it have to be like that? When I think in my neighborhood, there was a high school in my neighborhood that everyone knew that if you had any sense, you didn't want to go there. And I didn't come, I kind of thought like, but why? It's right down the street, I can walk there, but I'm getting on a bus to go to another school. And it was because it was in a predominantly working class black neighborhood. Why is the grocery store in our neighborhood not as good as the one in the suburbs? So I started just asking those questions, and it taught me how to problematize things. And instead of just accepting but that's just the way it is. That just never worked for me. That just never worked for me. And I've created another child who's just like me, which is a bit challenging as a parent. But, I'd rather him be that way, right? Even though it's not always easy to parent a child who's that curious. I just want people to question the things that they see and to not just take things for granted. And I think that, within a lot of communities, curiosity is not encouraged.
True.
True. Asking a teacher. Asking an elder. I think it could be fair to say that, if you were to generalize black culture, that there's a lot of reverence to elders. And I think that's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think sometimes curiosity is not allowed to flourish as much as it should be because of this reverence that we have to elders. How can we have reverence to elders and still respectfully ask questions?
Correct.
And so I think that's what I've always been interested in figuring out. I respect you, and I'm asking respectfully, why are we doing it like that? Because we've always done it doesn't work for me.
Correct.
And so I think that, if we look at our history, if we look at the history of our world, in terms of a lot of the oppression that takes place, not all of it, of course, and I'm not blaming the victims at all, but a lot of it comes from not asking questions. And not being encouraged to ask questions, and not educating people properly so that they don't know that they should ask questions, and so I think that that's why oppression in many instances is allowed to go on as long as it is, because sometimes spectators, we don't ask questions. Sometimes perpetuators, of course, are not asking questions, and then as victims, who of course we're not to blame, sometimes we're not asking questions and we're accepting this as our lot in life. And for me, that's a problem.
That's beautiful.
So I don't want that to happen to my students, that they are just accepting what they're given. I want them to be able to ask, and I want them to be able to speak up for themselves if they feel like the answers that they're getting don't add up.
That's fun, because my wife Chrystle is definitely a question asker, and I may say a thing or whatnot, and the question is why. It's like, okay, I'm not used to, right? There's that on one side, but then I'm not used to hearing why. Like, I was raised in a household where whatever was said was.
That's what it is.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And to now have her, and of course, just as yourself, she's duplicated that into our son. And he'll ask why. Yeah. And at first, I accepted it because I was like, man, like, that's a good question. Like, there were times I wanted to ask why. I just knew not to. And I was attentive, but it did teach me how to be attentive and alert to, okay, I wanted to ask why. I'm going to think my thought. I'm not going to ask it, but I'm going to look. I'm going to see if there's the reason for this to being the case, or if I was just to ask why. And so now Rickey will ask, and it's like, okay, cool, like, ask, but he took it too far.
They all take it too far. But look, I mean, I feel like I'd rather have that, right?
There's
and my son is like, why do I have to go to sleep at this time? Why do I? I'm like, some things I do need to address. But he's like, you told me to ask questions. Okay, you got me.
Correct.
Yeah, but I think all children have a natural curiosity.
That is true.
I think the world, and I think often schools and families, we dim their light.
Yeah.
We dim their light. They have this brightness, they have this desire to learn, and we just blow out that flame. We turn that light off. Like,
that's true.
Sit down, be quiet.
That's true.
Don't worry about it. Small folks' business.
That's true. And oftentimes it's done without even awareness that you're doing it.
No, I think it's just mechanical.
It's
right?
mechanical.
Yeah.
And I say that because it was one time in my adult life that I said to myself, I wanted to be a teacher. I said that I want to be a math teacher. I love math. And that's the thing that I was going to do while at the also great LSU. I had the opportunity of going into I like that, a third grade class to teach. And you could pick like which grade you wanted to do, and I said I wanted to do third grade honors, just thinking this is going to be a intensive class. They had an honors class
for third grade?
They did.
That's pretty awesome.
In Baton Rouge and that. And so I thought this is going to be a great class. Like, they're going to be attentive, focused, alert, and they're going to listen. They're honor kids, of course. However, getting there, we taught the lessons, myself and another young lady, and she's not a teacher either, by the way. However, now. But we're in there, teach a lesson, and they start asking questions. And the questions they were asking, excuse me, there was a point where I was good. I can answer that, And it came to a point where the honors side of this started kicking in.
The honors started honoring.
You know what I'm saying? And I took no honors class from any grade level. And I tapped out. Of my mental capability. I was like, we're not going to, don't worry about why. Don't ask why, because of my ignorance. Right? And so I wonder if sometimes why isn't allowed because the person doesn't have the answer and to feel more superior and dominant. And the leader, they will say, don't worry about it. Don't ask. You can't ask why. However, I'm thankful that you're even attentive and alert to know why is a good question, why should be asked, and even teaching them at such a young age to be curious. Yeah,
and I think a lot of our teachers, when they first come to our school, they think the students are too forward. Oh, they're kind of taken aback.
They're not used to that.
Yeah, they're kind of taken aback. And again, there's nothing wrong with being curious, but there's a respectful way to do it, right? True. Curiosity and questioning doesn't mean that you're disrespectful. So of course we want to make sure the students are doing it in that way. But I think you're right. I think sometimes we fear this curiosity because we might get caught not knowing. But I think one of the things that we've normalized at our school amongst from leadership, to students, and I shouldn't go like this because it's actually like this. From leadership to students is that it's okay to say I don't know.
Yes.
Let's find out together.
Yes.
Or I'm not sure. Let me come back to you.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you need to feel insecure about not knowing. Right. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, because you don't want to give kids the wrong information. And I think that's what also happens is the teacher doesn't know and says something that's not correct. And as a parent, it's very hard to fix that. Because the student will be like, Miss So-and-so said that it's like this.
Said it,
So I think I don't know is powerful.
Yep.
Yeah, let me find out. Let me come back to you.
Correct.
Yeah.
I embraced that phrase 2 years ago. And even as a husband, as far as even sharing things with Chrystle, she'll ask me something. babe, I don't know at this moment. I don't know, but I will seek to get the answer, and I'll let you know when I do. Was something that I had to overcome, right? Because the thought is being the man, supposed to be the man of the house, head of the house, and with that, you're supposed to have answers. Yeah. But there's times when you literally don't have the answer.
That's a lot of pressure.
Your point, there's that. But then you also don't want to give the wrong answer.
Right.
That was my real thing. Like, I don't want to lead anybody astray, right? And so there's that. But then to your point of it's not like this to this, it's more like this. Yeah. I think will come out as well. And this point on the website, it says, you know, of the various things that you love and that you're interested in, such as new cooking recipes and so forth and so on, and, you know, watching crime TV shows and all of that good stuff, meeting new people, which I love that too, right? It's hard for me to meet a stranger. However, I love the last part. It says you love working at the academy. I'm not going to butcher it by trying to say it. Because every day she gets the opportunity to learn and grow along with the staff and scholars. And I think that's beautiful, right? I think as the co-founder, the person that started it, and the person that desires for it to further, you know, maybe the most, or one of the ones that has that aspiration for the school and of the school, but at the same time, you go there each and every day with the ability to learn from the staff and the scholars, right? Which allows for you all to be on a level playing field because we can all learn and grow from each other. How much of that is as well within the staff? Because I think that's a beautiful sentiment and thought that could permeate from all levels, right? Because it is one level.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we have learned over time is what it means to be a successful teacher at our school.
Okay.
Yeah. And not just a teacher, a successful staff member at our school. A successful staff member at our school is one that has the ability to take feedback and apply it. So that's what we actually look for. So for example, I'm interviewing teachers right now. We're looking for a teacher. And I have them do a model lesson. To be honest with you, I want to see if they have content knowledge, of course. But I'm not as interested in the model lesson being perfectly executed. You know, these are new teachers that we typically hire, so that's not usually going to happen. What I'm interested in is I'm going to give them feedback, and I want to see how they receive it. I want to see how they didn't. I didn't ask them to embed the feedback and do it again. So I asked them, okay, take 15 minutes, take 20 minutes. I want you to embed the feedback, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you to present it again. So you have some people who won't even take that time that you give them and say, no, I got it. And of course they don't have it, right? Like they're not taking the feedback seriously because the feedback that I'm giving you is going to be thoughtful feedback that you can't just, you know, apply in an instant. You know, so that shows me, okay, this person doesn't take feedback very seriously. They're not being thoughtful. They're not even thinking about how they're going to do this and make it better. And then some people get frustrated. They get agitated. They get annoyed. They get defensive. You know, and then others. They receive it. They apply it. They do it again. And if I can see a person is like receiving it well, I might even give them another piece of feedback just to see, does this person, you know, are they just doing a good job in the interview or are they really able to take feedback? And then those are the people who we hire, people who take feedback well. So people often ask me, what are you looking for in a teacher? And I think they think I have this like long list. So of course I need content knowledge. You know, you need content knowledge. But besides content knowledge, the ability to take feedback, the desire to grow. If you don't want to grow, you don't want to be at Louisville Academy. Because everybody here is growing. And that's including me. I have a coach that coaches me. Our principal has a coach. I'm her coach. Along with she has two coaches actually. So everybody, from the people who are in leadership to the people who help prepare our food. Everyone in the school has a coach. And so those are the things that really matter to us. And it's not just your coach who can give you feedback as well. So feedback, we always share with people that you don't have to be in a leadership role to give feedback. I've taken feedback from the ladies who cook and clean. I've taken feedback from students. I've taken feedback from our principal, from our board, from parents. I've taken feedback from all of our stakeholders. And so that's something that we really want to emphasize at our school is that everyone here is your coach actually. Everyone here wants to see you grow. Everyone here is going to push you, and everyone here is going to hold you accountable. And you can do that to others as well. So it's not just, it doesn't just go in one direction.
I love that, and that keeps that unilateral tie.
So often we're so used to this, but it should be. You know, of course, you know, I'm a leader. You know, and our parents are trusting us to lead their students. So there is a leadership role that we play. but I believe that we're all on the same. We all have something to offer. We all have something to give. We can all learn from each other.
I love that, and I think as well, whether it was the plan or not, I think it was beautiful that even on the website, as far as like our team under that tab, you were the last one. And I thought that was cool. That was commendable, because in other cases where there's a founder or the leader or the starter of a thing, they're at the top, where they have their own page, right? And a whole spread. However, you yourself are at the end of it all, which speaks a lot to me. It spoke a lot to your leadership style and the way you see things, the way you see others, and the way you appreciate them for the things that they do and the part that they play in making the academy as a whole function, operate, and press on. So as you just shared, like, it makes sense, right? It makes sense because I had that thought looking in just from the website side, not even from being there, seeing there, walking around the school, but just even beautiful how you take the time to try new staff members and teachers and see how they take the feedback and criticisms and suggestions and things, because it can come from the child that's inquisitive, that's curious. It can come from the parent, and to your point, from the staff or your coach. And so just being able to take in what is said and apply it is a beautiful thing. However, after hearing all of that, I love it, because now myself, and I'm sure others as well, are thinking, how could we be a part, right? How could we, as ones that maybe don't have kids in the school, be a part? Those that may be in America or other countries that are watching, how could they be a part? But more than anything, how could we be a part of the academy achieving its goals, which we'll talk about as well, but then, go through and flow through everyday life.
So how can people support?
Be involved?
How can people be involved?
Involved, give, whatever we could do.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you if you could just put our website at the bottom of the screen. But our website is www.hololoacademy.org. You can go to that website, and there's a place for you to donate. You can also email us at info@hololoacademy.org, which will be on your screen. And we can connect with you, and we can also just carve out just different experiences for you. So we've had a lot of people get involved in different capacities, kind of based on their interest. So we had a friend who had 2 children. One was interested in journalism, the other was interested in sports. They came and did a soccer clinic. It's actually a kickball clinic. They taught our kids kickball, which they loved. They did a kickball clinic, and then the daughter did a week-long journalism workshop with our students. So that's the beauty of being small, the beauty of being independent, is the ability to be flexible. So that's something that's been awesome. We also are always in need of books. So we've had people ask for a wish list, which we can send if you email us, of books that we're interested in having. We've also had people do book drives on our behalf. We often just share the types of books that we're looking for. Whenever possible, we want books where our students can see their reflection. But we're also open to just books in general to others. So those are ways to get involved. Coming to read with students at the school. For our older students, one of the things that we're really excited about is exposing them to different careers. So I've already, I've been networking a lot with people who work on, different career paths. They're going to come to the school and visit and speak to the students about what they do. So there's just so many ways to get involved. So many ways.
Oh man, and I'm, I'm thinking through my thoughts and all, but at the same time, I just want it to be known that I received you didn't give like constructive criticism, but I'm gonna just take it as you would do for the teacher, right? You allow for them to present, and then you gave feedback. I'm gonna just say that I received a little feedback by saying, okay, make sure you put the website at the bottom, and then the other part at the bottom too. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'll make sure I do that, and they gonna be able to tap in and tune in, right? Because I received it, right? I sat with it.
Slid it in there.
Yes, I sat with it. I wasn't immediate. I didn't take it personal, but I'm gonna do what was said. And so, I love that, books and giving time, and even like in the States, there's the opportunity for like Go Teach that schools allow for, excuse me, where people that have and are in professions can come to the school, usually the parents of the kids, and they can share what they do for the kids just to give them insight on what they do and how they can do it too and different things like that.
Yeah, that's really important for us. It's for students also, especially to hear about different career paths, and then also to see people who look like them.
Yeah.
You know, who are in these careers. Okay. Because they don't often have that exposure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with a lot of Americans visiting, right, specifically to my American people at this point, with us coming over and visiting, and maybe some of us are looking for different things to do and how we could be a part of the community, is there a process that we would have to go through before we would come into the classroom, or should we email, or like what should we do before just, you know what I'm saying, looking up online to see where it is showing up? I want to do something, like what should we do before visiting?
Yeah, so definitely email us before visiting, and then we will set up a time, someone on our team will set up a time to meet with you. As of late, I've been taking the lead on outreach, so it'll probably be me.
Yes.
So I'll set up a time to meet with you. I'll give you a tour of the school. Yeah. One of my friends, for example, it was her birthday in January, and she chose to do a fundraiser for the school, and she raised funds in order to support us with building a library at the school. Yeah. We've had people that do book drives. There's just you can come in as a guest speaker. So there's just so many ways that you can support the work that we're doing.
Right.
Yeah. It can be based on what you're interested in as well.
I love that. I love that because there's so many different things that just runs through my mind of things that I could do, but then even the various things that could be done. And so I'm excited to even come, right? To do a video showcasing what's going on now, right? Because I know there were videos that you all did on YouTube and things like that was 7 years old, right?
Yeah,
it just shows how long you all have been doing this thing, which is a beautiful thing in itself. And even speaking of, right, let me just speak to that. One of the videos I saw was, I believe, like a book club, book drive scenario, but all of the kids had different outfits on.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like the fairy situation. Like, what was that? Speak to me about that.
So our school is very rigorous. So we're like very academic centered. Yeah. So we believe in working really hard, but we also believe in playing hard. Okay. So every month we have a different theme. So typically in October, just around Halloween time, we have a dress as your favorite book character day. Okay. Yeah, so that's where students get a chance to dress as their favorite book character. Yes. We usually have parents or community members come in and read a book to students. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is
and
fun.
I'm saying it's fun as well because I'm seeing the similarities to the school back in Tampa that our kids went to. Okay. That again, that's under that same KIP. Same thing, right? We had the same scenario.
Yeah. A lot of my ideas come from there, from my school in DC.
That's fun. And so Rain, she would have to bring the book, and she could dress up as a character of the book, and they would do a parade called the book parade. Yeah, and the parents would come, and we would cheer.
That's a good idea.
We would cheer. Yeah, we cheer for the kids, and they would walk around like one circle. Well, no, two. It was 2 circles. They walked around twice, and then they went into the classroom. And they shared the book with the class. And so that was the gist of that day. But it was fun for us.
It is fun.
And we could bring people if we wanted to as well. But I mean, essentially it was all outside. And that was at that grade. But then certain grades as you went up, they would, so I think it was like maybe 4th or 5th grade, they would be like a statue of a person, right, of that character. Oh. And as people walk by and they touch you, then you had to act out that character that's in the book, right? And so, that's another thing, but it was cool. And the kids took it serious. Yeah. They would dress up. They would remember either about the author or about the character or pages of the book. And they would just have to speak and things like that. It was fun.
It is fun.
And the kids enjoyed it.
It should be, yeah.
Correct, right? Because school is enough.
Yeah.
And there should be some fun that takes place as well,
Sure.
right? And so, boom shakalaka. 7 years ago, the YouTube stopped. Is there a reason why it stopped? And is there thoughts about what could be done to get things up and going again?
You know, I'm just not great at posting.
Okay.
So I usually, whenever I go to the classes, I spend a lot of time in classes. I always take my phone and I'm always filming. Just haven't been posting them.
Okay. I have friends like
maybe
that.
you'll give me a little bit of motivation.
There is. Yeah. Or a child, right? We develop it in a
cool.
child.
Yeah,
and if there's a need for that, I can definitely help in the rounds of editing and things like that. So it can be posted and inspired by the child. And they'll take pride in it.
That is a great idea.
And
they would love to do that.
Of course.
Yeah, they would love to like be able to have a phone to take pictures and to take videos and publish it.
Yes.
They would love that.
There's that. And then there's in the States, I don't know if it's here just now, but the whole thought of being an influencer is like
it's
prevalent.
It's
here as well.
yeah.
And so they could get a taste of what it's like in their own respective way, whatever way you desire or would say, because there is both sides of it, right? They could post something and it can get a bunch of views or a bunch of likes, and they could post something the next day and then not get it. And so just battling with that would be like for them, making sure their self-esteem and things. Oh yeah, like
that's perfect.
We can
Especially we have older students now.
Correct.
So that's a fantastic idea.
Correct, which is why as well, I'm excited to come to the school.
So that could be something that you could assist with.
I definitely could. I said it.
You on the spot, yeah.
I said it on camera because I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm open to it.
That'd be fantastic.
And I know how fruitful it could be.
Yeah.
And because another one of my things for even this podcast, right, for the love of SA, is to allow for people here to embrace the beauty that they have here, and to realize that yes, there's other parts of the world. However, I want you to know South Africa is beautiful and all that it is and all that it has to offer. And I believe that even the kids themselves, starting at that age, will be able to tell stories in their own particular ways and record it, or do a podcast or whatever it is that they want to do, but be able to showcase what South Africa has to offer and what South Africa has to offer to the world. Right. And so one thing that I do want to touch on, I was debating on whether or not I would bring it up or not. However, I just want to, right? We're here.
Do it.
As it pertains to Alexandra.
Yes.
Putting some respect on it.
Put some respect
on Alexandra.
Yes.
Okay, because I've been adding a whole up some more letters and things.
Yeah,
you did good. You did good. I thank you for not allowing me to go through this whole conversation saying it wrong. Because people will. And they'll say, oh no, it doesn't matter. It's not, it doesn't matter. It does matter for the people that live there. What makes you call it a community of people as opposed to a township?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Okay. You said it every time you spoke of it, you never called it a township, which to me, it forced me to look at it from a whole nother perspective and give it respect. Because when I hear township, immediately I think poverty, right? And I have since changed that upon coming here and taking tours and visiting. I have a brother Safiso, he drove me through Alexandra and Soweto. And after that, I'm like, oh man, these are beautiful, beautiful places from and with various classes of people, even being able to live in harmony together. And so you never called it a township. Is there a reason?
I've not noticed that. Okay. I think I've not called it that because I think you're right. I think the word has come to have a connotation of poverty.
Yes.
And it causes people to just think that they know before they do.
Correct.
Yeah. It's almost like how we talked about, like if you're Zulu, if you're this, if you're that, it makes people think that they know you before they've actually gotten a chance to explore you, to know your unique identity. So I think that Alex for me is a community. I feel loved there.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes you see celebrities, they go back to where they're from, and the neighbors will be like, oh, I watched him grow up.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily feel that way in my neighborhood that I grew up in Louisville. I definitely feel loved. You know, my neighbors definitely they loved me. They definitely supported me. But a lot of them have passed. A lot of them have since moved on. But when I'm in Alex, especially on 2nd Avenue where our street is located, it just feels like love.
Wow.
When I walk down the street, people wave. They call me mistress, even though I don't like to be called mistress. that's a name that people call principals here.
Oh.
Like if you're head of a school, they call you mistress.
Yeah. Which has a whole nother connotation in the States.
Exactly. So that's not my favorite name.
Especially
but just the love that I receive from people when I'm there. It's what it is. It's a community. That's what it feels like. I feel like if I need something, I can just walk outside of the school. I can walk in my school, but I can also walk outside of the school, and there are people there that will. What's going on? What do you need? Is there anything you need help with? I just feel the love there.
Yes. And how long have you been at the location that you're at currently?
So we have we've been at that location for the whole time.
Okay.
Since 2015.
Since 2015.
Yeah, so we're on the premises of the Methodist Church.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. I dig that. And so there's so many things, right, that we could even go down, but I think I'll wait, right? I'll wait until we see the school.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Correct. See the school, show the school, and have the ability to walk around the school. And I think that'll give a lot of answers to the questions that I'm even thinking about and that others may be even thinking of as they're watching. And in short, right, not as a last question, but as a question. 5 years from now, right, you ideally would have finished, right? You would have had 12 years of school, or 12 grades.
Yeah.
I can call it a grade?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 12 grades within the school. Now your son, your oldest son, would be in college, right, or university. One, with that being the case, 5 years from now, would you want him to be on and at a university here, or where? Do you have a desire for your son to go to university?
We're leaving that up to him.
Okay.
Yeah, we're leaving that up to him. I wouldn't mind him going to a historically black college or university. Okay. So, I've kind of thrown out Morehouse.
Yes.
But I want him to go where he wants to go.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be there to support him on the journey, to research. But right now, he's really curious about going to the U.S. for university.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think he wants to explore his Black American roots.
Yeah. On that side. Okay.
Yeah.
But then as it pertains to the academy itself, where would you want it to be 5 years from now?
In 5 years, I want us to be at a place where we're reimagining again. What can we do better? What's working? What's serving us? What's not? How can we make it better?
Yeah.
I think that I won't be satisfied when we get to that 5 years that we have all the grades. I'll think, okay, we have all the grades. Now let's make it even better.
Okay.
Yeah. So just on a quest to just continuously improve, to see potentially how we can make things better for our parents, how we can make things better for our community, to just see how we can expand our reach.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would be interested in, but just still focused on one single site.
Yeah.
But just thinking about with that single site, how else can we impact the community? How else can we make things better for the people of Alexandra?
Yeah. And speaking of, man, you are awesome, because that's where I was about to go to. Knowing that there are people that live in Alex that watch the channel, and maybe they know of the academy, maybe they didn't. However, now through this conversation, they will. They will know about the academy and all that it has to offer, and the beacon of light and hope that it is for the present and for the future. What would you desire for them to know about either yourself or about the academy that you could share with them?
I think what I would share is that we are in Alexandra. We're not in Alexandra to do something, for the community. We're there to do something with the community.
Wow.
So that's something that's really important for me. It's also important for me to note that almost all of our staff members live in Alex. All of our staff members have a heart for the community. Most of our staff members who have children of school age, they send their children to the community. So this is not a project. This is not, just this little thing that we're doing. We're in Alex because we really want to make an impact, and we want to make things better for the people in the community.
Wow. That's beautiful. I mean, as you are impacting the community, you're inevitably impacting the world, because they are kids that will shape the future, right? Whether it's in government, technology, education, the list goes on. They will play a part, and I'm excited to see them, right? First off, excited to see them. And because I do love kids. Yeah. I definitely love kids, and I find myself dealing with more kids than adults, right? Especially like in a church setting. I gravitate to the kids.
Young people as well.
I love adults. However, I love kids and the energy that they have, the excitement about life that they have, just all of it, right? And so I'm excited to get to see them, to get to meet them, and to see the twinkle in their eyes. But even beyond that, in short or in last, my question is to the kids, right? If you had the opportunity to speak to the kids, no, you're good, babe. So we'll say, that's my wife.
Oh, hello, is this Chrystle?
Yes.
Hello, Chrystle.
She going to get the kids.
How are you, dear?
Good, how are you?
Were you here all the time?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she was in the row.
Okay, you were hiding from us. Okay, I hope to meet you.
Yes, I have to go get the kids.
Right.
Okay, take care.
There it is. That's mine.
Yes.
So as it pertains to the kids themselves, right? With them being able to watch this one day and see this one day, what would you say to them as they may now know or come into the knowledge of all that has gone into the academy, the education experience that they get to have each and every day? What would you say to them that you want them to know at any point in time or in life that they come in contact with this video?
I would want you all to know that every single person that you see at Hololo Academy is there because they want to be. They could have chosen to work at other places where they could have possibly made more money, where there was possibly more prestige attached to working there. But the people that are in front of you, that are teaching you, that are feeding you, that are loving you every day, are there because they want to see you win.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the only thing they want is to see you win. And everything that we do is designed to create an environment where you can win, where you can reach whatever place that you want to reach to, where you can live out a life of choice.
There it is. I love that. I love that. And sitting next to this LSU graduate, you see a winner. And I definitely, I love Woody, right? And so I love competition.
I can see that.
It's so many levels, right? And I say that because you saying you want to see the kids win speaks volumes to me, right? It speaks about your why. It speaks about the energy that you have and that you get upon stepping on campus and even driving to campus. And I'm going to bring that same excitement and joy and desire that you have for kids to win when I come on campus, right?
You should interview some of the kids.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And, you know, so hearing that, first I'm excited, but then I'm thinking through like the American red tape of we got to get consent forms from the parents and different things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do a lot of videos and we can also make one especially for this podcast.
Yeah.
For this YouTube channel.
Yeah, and for yours as well.
Yeah.
I would love to even start something like that because I believe to see a child at certain ages is beautiful, right? You get to see a glimpse of their future, but then as well for the child to later see what they did back in fifth grade or fourth grade and what they said in their 18-year-old
it's fun to look back on that.
Correct, right? And it could be a part of this graduation ceremony where they're looking at themselves at their fifth grade self. This is what you said. This is how you look. This is what you said you wanted to be, what you wanted to do, and now look at yourself now. And that could be fun, right? Because oftentimes you get asked the question of a millionaire, billionaire, somebody that's well off of what would you tell your younger self, right? However, let's allow for the younger self to tell the older self something that they can hold on to. Is something that maybe we could do on the channel. And never thought of that before, so maybe it was necessary for you to hear. Like I was doing that with Rain and Rickey. Like, I'm gonna take my own advice. But in it all, with it all, I thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you for your time. I thank you for your opportunity that you have given us to know more about Hololo Academy. Hololo Academy.
Yes, sir.
Because again, like I was excited when it was brought to my attention and just seeing it online, but then to meet the person behind the school itself. So there's a co-founder. You're a co-founder.
Yes, my husband is the co-founder.
It's the other co-founder. Yes. So you all are the founders.
Yes.
So the family itself is the founding family of the academy. That's so beautiful.
Thank
right?
you.
I was looking for the other side. And so thank you. You answered that very well.
Thank you.
And with truth. And so that's beautiful, right? A family. Man, what a legacy that you all are creating and establishing. And I even love how on the website it has your 3 children in the class of.
Yeah.
And just to even think of like, man, I think one of them's like class of 2037 or
Yeah.
something. Like what in the world? Like,
long way to go.
you think as yourself, like I'm class of 2007. So you think that's the end. Who thinks 2000?
30
like,
years later.
What?
Yeah, it's 2037.
2037? Like, they still doing that?
Yeah.
But yeah, kids are still being produced each and every day. And so with the academy that's here, I know, and we can now know that, you know, the kids of Alexandra, stop, Rickey.
Okay.
See, you know,
it's okay.
I've been doing it for a long time. You know, I've said it, 3 times now the right way, Alexandra.
Yes.
The kids of Alexandra will be in a better place. The people of Alexandria will be in a better place because the academy is there. And so I'm excited to be able to bring it visually to the people. But again, I thank you for sharing about it. And now I'm more excited and encouraged about the future, not only for the future of people within South Africa, but the future of people around the world, because you all are creating people that are curious, that has love, that operate with the standard of excellence, and that do have courage to step out into this world and to make it a better place. So thank you.
Thank you.
To the staff, thank you.
Thank you.
To the parents, thank you,
thank
right? Because you all are integral
Yeah.
and a part of what takes place. And to those that will give, donate, and be a part of supporting, thank you as well in advance. So make sure y'all go to the various links that'll be down below, as she's already requested. And let's all do our part and find our way to make the Academy a great, great, phenomenal, world class. We'll add to it, because you already are, right? We're just adding to it.
Yeah.
We're not making it. You already made it.
Oh, thank
you
you.
all have already made it.
Thank
We're
you.
just adding to the world-class education and world-class experience that the kids get to achieve and be a part of each and every day. So we thank you all. We love you all. Until the next one. Peace.